Let's talk to Mike Neville now, though, retired Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector. The news at the weekend that Palestine Action had been proscribed as a terrorist organisation meant that police, when they decided to demonstrate on the streets of London, were kind of duty-bound to arrest them. They arrested 29 protesters on suspicion of terror offences, but Palestine Action kind of standing up to them and saying, well, we're just going to change our name, we're just going to change what we do, we're not a terrorist organisation, we're not the same as Hamas or the same as Al-Qaeda. We'll find out what Mike says. Mike, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
It seems to be taking a hell of a time, doesn't it, to get this organisation under control. It might well be that there would be those who would say, well, why should they be under control? They're not doing anything terrible. But the police have said in the past that they have actually done terrible things. They've committed acts of vandalism, they've used weapons, they've attacked people, they've intimidated people. You know, they might not be Al-Qaeda, but they have now been outlawed as an organisation because of their terrorist activities.
Well, they must be serious in the sense that most of the Labour MPs voted to prescribe them under the Terrorism Act of 2000. And it goes further, of course, than vandalism, doesn't it, Mike? They sabotage, that's the word I would use, sabotage 2 RAF aircraft to the point of £7 million. But not only did they sabotage them, this is at a time when we're all manner of global conflicts and threats around us. And so to take away the capability from our Royal Air Force, it is an act of terrorism, in my view, and they deserve all they get.
Yeah, but I mean, they say that they're going to get around the law, don't they? And they've taken legal advice because they're quite well funded. If they change their name, that might be a simple thing to do that will mean that they can carry on demonstrating because they're no longer called Palestine Action.
Yeah, and we saw that in Northern Ireland, didn't we, with the IRA, the Provisional IRA, the Irish National Liberation Army. So these organisations are like the Hydra. You know, you chop one head off and 2 more grow. But there's what gets me with this organisation is there's all the usual idiots involved. There's this Reverend Sue Parfitt, who's the 80-odd-year-old vicar who's been arrested 20-odd times. And my mother used to say there's one thing worse than a fool, and it's an old fool. And so you've just got these usual individuals who are involved in this, who the people involved in terrorism and the like, in Hamas and whatever, will see these. Remember Jeremy Corbyn referred to our friends and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. They will see these people as useful idiots. But what does strike me is, as I said at the start, Mike, is that the Labour side of the House were the ones who were really pushing for this. So it strikes me that they must see this organisation as a definite threat.
Yes, and they have to be treated as such, because otherwise, you know, we saw when suddenly, you know, the police started clamping down a lot more on Just Stop Oil, they just stopped, really. They didn't do any more demos because they didn't actually fancy spending a lot of time in jail.
That's right, and the punishments dished out there were some substantial prison sentences. But I just, with this organisation here, they crossed the Rubicon when they attacked those planes. Yeah. We can all put up with people waving silly signs and their daft flags and all this sort of thing, and we've put up with all these demonstrations in London, which have, you know, really impacted on the Jewish community and the like. But once you start to attack our armed forces and take away their capabilities, something has to be done.
Yeah, I think so. Mike, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Retired Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector, saying, you know, these people have to be stopped because they are creating not just a nuisance, they are creating criminal acts, many of which could be regarded as terrorist acts.